I'll be presenting the results of the Keynote 942 trial at this year's ASCO 2023. So this is a randomized phase 2 study which was designed to look at an individualized neoantigen therapy approach with an mRNA vaccine designed by Moderna in combination with pembrolizumab compared to pembrolizumab monotherapy in patients with high-risk resected melanoma. The rationale for doing this study was that we're trying to find out if doublet treatment works better than single agent, because there's still a significant number of patients who will experience disease relapse despite curative intent surgery as well as effective adjuvant treatment options. These patients have local relapse as well as distant relapse. So there's unmet need. And number two, the concept of personalized cancer vaccine is very appealing. So rather than giving a very one-size-fits-all approach to treating everybody with the same drug, so what we tried to do in this study was to take a more personalized approach for an individual patient's unique tumor mutations. So the mRNA vaccine is designed specifically for an individual patient's unique tumor mutations, and that is then encoded onto an mRNA vaccine and then given to the patient. So the design of the study included about 157 patients with high-risk resected stage 3B, C, D, or resected stage 4 melanoma who have undergone surgery within 13 weeks of starting treatment with pembrolizumab. These patients were randomized in a 2-to-1 manner. So 107 patients received combination treatment with mRNA vaccine plus pembrolizumab, and 50 patients received pembrolizumab monotherapy. The primary endpoint of the trial was relapse-free survival, and then distant metastasis-free survival was hierarchically tested in the context of a positive primary endpoint of relapse-free survival. And we followed these patients roughly for about a median of 2 years. The study met its primary endpoint of improvement in relapse-free survival with combination treatment with a hazard ratio of 0.56, which means a 44% relative risk reduction in local relapse. In an 18-month time point, that was roughly about a 16% absolute improvement in relapse-free survival. The results that I'm presenting in this meeting were the distant metastasis-free survival, because distant metastasis-free survival is an important endpoint because patients who relapse distantly got a poorer outcome with high mortality and morbidity. With these patients, the distant metastasis-free survival is also improved by the combination treatment. The hazard ratio was quite strong, 0.34, 65% relative risk reduction, which translated to about a 15% improvement in distant metastasis-free survival at 18-month time point. These results confirm that both the primary and secondary endpoints were met with a clinically significant improvement. More importantly, we didn't see any other strong safety signals in terms of pembrolizumab, which is the current standard of care, but more importantly, we didn't see any significant side effects associated with the vaccine. So the risk of grade 3 or higher adverse event, which leads to major morbidity, were about 10% with the vaccine. And most of those vaccine-related adverse events were grade 1 or 2, means that they were fairly easy to manage and self-limiting. They lasted for about 24 to 48 hours. The common side effects included fever, chills, body aches, and an injection site reaction or redness. These are common side effects that we see with a lot of mRNA COVID vaccines. So overall, the treatment was fairly well tolerated, and there was no significant difference seen between the two groups in terms of immune-mediated adverse events as well. So to summarize, I think the combination of the mRNA vaccine with pembrolizumab demonstrated a clinically significant improvement in relapse-free survival and distant metastasis-free survival without compromising the toxicity profile of either of the drug or in combination. So moving forward, because this is a phase 2 study, so a randomized phase 3 study is planned in a collaboration between Merck and Moderna, and that study is going to be rolled out in the next few months across the world. And we think if that study becomes positive, that might be potentially practice changing.